Well, folks, it's time to suit up again for another episode of the Soul Sessions. But time moves forward. But we've got a bit of a blast from the past. Well, I've lost my hair and changed my outfit. She's been absolutely killing it. Daisy Jenkins, welcome back to the Soul Sessions.
Hello, thanks for having me. Am I the first one to come on twice?
You're the first wrestler to come on twice. We've had some companies who've been twice and film promoters, but you're the first wrestler, so you get that to your accolade.
Yay!
It's always good to have the accolades. But I mean, Daisy, first of all, it's nearly been a year since you've been on the Soul Sessions. So I want to know how you've been and what's your year been like.
It's been mental, hasn't it?
Right, indeed, it has been, because you've been absolutely killing it. As we mentioned there in the intro. But I want to talk about yourself. Like from last year to now, how do you feel like you evolved as a wrestler?
Oh, like majorly in every aspect as well, I would say. It's been tough, but I think I've obviously gained a lot of experience with some really good people in the ring and outside of the ring and training and stuff. And I've also travelled a little bit. I'm a lot more confident in myself. I think it's clear to see how much fun I'm having. So yeah, it's all going very well, and I'm still very grateful for it all. And I'm just trying to take it each day as it comes, I suppose. But I do feel very different. Although I call like my personality.
Well, we always keep the same personality and always that charm as well. But you mentioned there, you've been all over. I know you've been doing a lot of seminars as well with FPWA, and I feel like you've gone down to Wales as well, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
What was the difference from learning in FPWA and obviously down there? I believe it was it New Wave Academy?
Yeah, so I work down in Bristol sometimes, so like on and off, which is only about 45 minutes away from New Wave. So I trained there a little bit. I want to say last year. Yeah, it would have been last year. And then obviously we've had the shows with FPWA versus New Wave. We had the seminar with Boar. And then when I was down working, I went and trained with them, and we also had a show down in Wales as well. It's not too much different to training at FPWA. The styles are very much the same. So I think that's been good for me. Because it doesn't feel like I don't feel nervous or anything like that, because it's quite similar in terms of structure. But it's great working with loads of different people, and there's different coaches there, so it's been really good. I really enjoyed myself.
That was good to hear as well. And you mentioned there the great show that was FPWA versus New Wave Academy, and just great to see FPWA interacting with other promotions and getting talent in for you guys to face as well, and overall just experience and everything. But I know you would face a hell of a talent in Dani Luna as well. I mean, damn, how did it feel going against Dani in the ring?
I was very nervous. She's someone that I think I can safely say that I look up to her a lot. Just her style and the way that she carries herself. So I knew that it was going to be tough. A tough opponent, but I gave everything that I had. I think I performed really well, but it was terrifying, as it always is stepping through for any match. But yeah, it was a particularly important one for me, and I thought it went really well. And the show as a whole just had a really good vibe about it. So I'm very, very grateful for that opportunity, and I think it definitely helped me level up, as they say.
Always got to level up and continue more. And obviously, many other great matches were on the show. Andy Roberts against Wild Boar, Jason Reed versus Frank Gallo, and just many others, seeing great talent coming into FPWA. Is there maybe a certain promotion you would love to see have another feud with FPWA?
I think the FPWA versus New Wave is one that I would like to see continue. There's so much more talent down there and at FPWA who would, if given the chance to face off against each other, I think we'd have some spectacular matches. There's quite a few. I mean, we've had a lot of matches back and forth with Iron Girders as well. Again, it's really good experience for everybody. And those shows have been really good too. I think everybody's really enjoyed them. So I don't know too much in terms of other schools. So I don't know much about other ones that I've not been to personally. But those two in particular, I think working together with FPWA, we do put on a really good show, and it's been amazing to be a part of, really.
Of course, it's very historic as well, showing that FPWA is growing, and it's great to see with all the people we've had on the show, and just great to see that kind of exposure for you guys. But I know other opponents you've faced as well, such as Ruby Roberts as well, and Ruby's a hell of a talent in herself as well. What's it like facing Ruby?
It's great. Like, me and Ruby always have a lot of fun, and it's been a bit of a back and forth between me and Ruby at Copenhagen Championship Wrestling. So we're 1-1 at the minute, and we've got a fatal 4-way coming up in, I want to say, it might not even be a couple of weeks now. It's probably next week. I'm just looking at my calendar. I think it's next week. So we'll see who comes out on top, whether it's either one of us or if we need to have a third match to see who takes home that accolade. But yeah, no, we've got a little bit of a thing going on, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, who knows? Maybe that accolade to get the final decisive win could maybe be a hell of a TLC match or an exploding barbed wire match. You got to end this.
Yeah, that would be a step up, wouldn't it? I'm sure she'd be up for it.
Chaos and insanity all around. But speaking of insanity, ICW, and I know you've returned to ICW since you've been on the show here against Moxie Malone on the Fight Club. I mean, I've seen Moxie wrestle in the ring. Holy shit, that's intense. I can't imagine from your being in the crowd, in the ring yourself and feeling that intensity. Can it be a bit overpowering?
I think it was to begin with. I faced off against Moxie a few times now, and before our last match, we've been in a match since then. I went through to Girders to challenge her for King of the Fling title, but our one in ICW, I put out a promo beforehand saying that, the first time that I faced off against her, I was intimidated. But since the 2 times that we faced off there, I done a lot of growing. Again, talk about all the experience that I've gained, and I walked into that one not intimidated anymore. And that's potentially how I maybe came out with the win on that one, although it didn't go down very well.
Well, hey, a win's a win. But, something interesting, obviously, with ICW, we've got Shug's House Party 8 coming up. And, there's going to be a 6 tag, Moxie against Molly, and they've got, Moxie's got her 2 people, but Molly needs 2. Maybe you can join Molly and kick Moxie's ass again.
Give me a call.
All right, Dallas, come on, my friend. Get on the phone and get Jenkins on Shug's House Party 8. But obviously, yeah, indeed. But obviously, someone who's connected with Molly as well, the She-Wolves, Casey, who obviously is the Y Division champion for Discovery Wrestling. I know you faced her as well, and seeing her in person when I saw at that Discovery show, hell of a talent as well as a champion. But I know you faced her, and what's it like facing her? Because Casey's a hell of a talent.
Unbelievable. Again, just one of those people that, with everybody that I've been in the ring with over the past year, I think, for me, it's kind of like, it's quite overwhelming, because I never thought that I would be at the stage that I'm at already, kind of being in the ring with these people. And it's just been such an amazing learning curve. Everybody's different styles. Like, I've watched these people wrestle for years, and to be in the ring opposite them is a completely different feeling. But I think that I've proved myself each and every time, and I've learned loads from it. And I think that's just the main thing, especially with having the opportunity to work against such amazing talent as what I have. Every single time I come away from a match, I've learned, 10 matches worth of stuff from it, just because of the caliber of people that you're in with. And it just brings you up that level, and having that confidence in yourself to be able to continue to kind of strive for the level that they're at. They've got a lot more years on me, but it does give me that push and that motivation to want to be as good as that, and to hold my own, which I feel like I have been doing. So, I'm immensely proud of myself for that, and I still work very hard for it. But the main thing for me is just how much I learn each and every time. It's incredible. Like, there's literally no other way to describe it. You can only really feel that,
Absolutely, it's a sense of joy and accomplishment to see that you're growing. We mentioned there, like, those past 3 opponents. Each one is like a step up from experienced to people who are starting new and learning, does it kind of shock you, like how fast you're rising?
I have to keep it in check a little bit. It's played on my mind quite a bit. That's the mental aspect to it. Sometimes you can think, like, am I ready for it? Or like, why me in a good way, not the why me in a bad way. But then, I kind of always come round to the fact of, well, why not? Why not me? Like I worked really hard and I feel like I've proven it, like I said before, like I feel like I prove myself each and every time. But I do need to take check of it, and it can kind of become overwhelming and run away from you sometimes. But I'm just super grateful for every single moment that I have, because I never thought any of this would happen. Like my original dream was to have a match, and I've done far beyond that. That anything over and above this is literally a dream. So I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as I can, and just keep rolling with the punches, as they say, because that's kind of what I have to do. But yeah, it's going amazing, and I could literally, if I wanted to write it down in terms of, if somebody asked me at the start and said, what would be your dream outcome for all of this, I couldn't have written it as good as this. So it's I just want to keep going. I just want more and more and more.
Hey, keep the ball rolling. If you're achieving well. But you also mentioned the mental toll, and I've had guests on before that talked about how they relieve themselves from time in the ring, whether it's through faith or through activities they love, or maybe something they just like doing in general. For you, Daisy, what helps you kind of unwind from being in the ring all the time?
I don't. It's a simple answer. I very rarely wind down. I think I've not been very good at it lately. So I'm trying to find more ways of doing that, because I do realise that I probably push myself too much, and then you've got the danger of burning out and all that sort of stuff. So I've been spending a lot more time with friends and family and things, just to kind of make sure that I remember who I am, and not just constantly focusing on this one thing all the time. So that's been good, and I've done a bit of travelling and things too, and just trying to do different things that I've never done before. I'm kind of like trying to continue to push myself outside my comfort zone, which doesn't sound relaxing at all. I do I do appreciate that, but yeah, I'm not very good at relaxing, so I need to be on the go all the time, which is fine. But I'm trying to find new things to do. So.
Oh, absolutely, as well. And you've done some things well, like kind of historic things as well. So I know you'd be on the 20th anniversary show for BCW as well, which is kind of a historic thing to be in itself. Being on like a 20th anniversary show, knowing that's going to be on your accolade of achievements, got to be a sense of pride.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those things where you do kind of sit there and you go, wow, this is like, you become part of something that's been going on for so long, and your name gets added to a list of people that you would never imagine your name being on the list of, and that was a really special night for me, I think, just because of a culmination of struggling with confidence still, and the crowd was, I think, like 700 plus, and the venue is absolutely incredible. So it feels big, like it feels like a moment, and I walked out, and I think it was the first time I've ever had smoke. I feel like it was. It's the first time I remember it anyway. I apologise if anybody else has done it for me and I've not noticed. But, like you come out on this big stage, and I posted a reel of my entrance for that match, and the reception was just incredible. Like I get chills watching it. And there's a part at the end of my entrance where I'm standing on the second rope, and I start clapping, because the music, the beat of the music is, you would clap along to, and 700 people clapping at me was just absolutely nuts. And getting to work with, I was with we worked against Moxie in that match, but also Harley Hudson and Miley Grace, who are just incredible. So to share the ring with them too was very, very special. I really enjoyed that.
Of course, it's a very special moment. You got to treasure those as well. But also, you know, you've been wrestling up in Scotland and Wales and everything, and I've always been interested. Well, we always like to say UK wrestling as a whole, it's all one big unit. But I like to think that, you know, Scottish fans react differently to Welsh fans and English fans. Do you agree with that, Daisy, or do you think they're all very similar?
Well, I've not had any experience in England yet. I've been to a couple of shows, and they are slightly different. They react to different parts of matches and different things. But even in Scotland, you've got the different sorts of crowds. You know, like ICW crowd is very different to Discovery crowd. So it's even interesting having that dynamic where they're two very completely different things in a very short sort of distance from each other. And Wales was very similar. Wales is like kind of a mix of the two. And then I don't know if we've mentioned it there, but like Dubai was something completely different. And it's just it is weird how people react differently to different things. Like you can do something.
Oh, shit.
I don't know.
I think it's just cutting out a wee bit there. We'll be okay. I think it'll sync up soon. Oh, good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard you were talking about Dubai crowd. Don't worry, I'll time everything out perfectly. It'll look magical.
Yeah, so the Dubai crowd is something completely different. So it is interesting how crowds react to completely different things. But to you as a person. So I do enjoy the difference. But it's I think Scotland will always have a reputation of having loud crowds for everything.
What a very energetic bunch, as they say. But you mentioned
very
Dubai.
energetic, especially disco. Like you were at that last disco show. Like they are wild.
Oh, absolutely. Energetic and positivity all around. But we got to get onto Dubai, because when I first saw the match announcement for yourself going over there, I was kind of like, wow, that goddamn well done for you, Daisy. And obviously it was EXB WrestleFest, you against Roxy as well. When that offer came to you, was it just like someone emailed you, or did someone mention it to you about Dubai?
So it was one of those things that was obviously written in the stars. It was supposed to happen. I was going out there for work, and I messaged. We just had Shaheen wrestle with us at FPWA in March. So I'd got to know him during that time. And he was kind of like, you know, if you're ever over in Dubai, like you can come and train with us and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So when I was going to be over there, I messaged him the dates, and he was like, oh, well, if you're here that weekend, there's a show on. And he was like, I'd love to have you on it. And I was like, whoa. So, yeah, it all just worked out crazily well. And we just went for it. So it was one of those things that potentially was never, I don't know. I still, to this day, I was actually watching videos of it earlier. But it was just one of those things that obviously was meant to be.
Absolutely. You know, and I can see as well, you know, the whole crowd reaction and everything I've seen on social media from you and Roxy's match. People were just such invested as well. It shows that you do have a real connection with the audience. Do you feel like that as well?
Yeah, that really cemented it for me, because I didn't know how they were going to react. Because they love her over there. Absolutely adore her. And I just kind of felt like, okay, well, I'm going to go out and they're just going to boo me straight away because they love her. But I came out and it was, you know, the best reception that I could have hoped for. And it just felt different. It felt special. Everything about it felt special, not just for me, but for her. And it was just such a cool moment. But I'll remember that entrance for the rest of my life. Just the feel, like I can't describe how I felt in that moment. but it was truly special. It's a very special thing that they've got over there. It's a completely different atmosphere from anywhere that I've experienced so far. And I don't think that that's just because of being in a different country and it being, the first international match and things like that. I think it genuinely does have its own little bubble that is just incredibly special. And everybody who's been out there says the same thing, so it must be true.
Indeed. And would you like to return there?
Oh, absolutely. I hands down, I would literally make it a priority of mine to get back out there. That's how amazing it was.
Oh, damn, indeed. And, going to one place, many opportunities are there. Maybe you could go to the States, Canada, Japan, are they on your list as well?
I've tried not to think about it too much because I genuinely just don't know what the possibilities are. And I kind of feel like I'm very much a kind of trust the process type person. Like I'll work hard and I'll believe that what is for me will come to me. So if an opportunity arises and I'm in the right, I'm in the right place at the right time, and everything aligns, then it'll happen. But I don't think that there's nothing that's kind of on my kind of list, as it were, or like a goal. Just because I don't know what the options are and what would be best for me. I think we spoke a bit on our last episode about the WoW Superstars.
Yes.
And that's still something that seems very cool to me. I was watching videos of that earlier. But I think, things will happen if they're meant to.
Pretty much indeed. You never know what's in store for the future. But let's go back to a bit of home. In my neck of the woods of good old the capital, Edinburgh, the best city, if I may so myself. We also got Discovery Wrestling here, and I know you've done stuff for Discovery. I want to first talk about someone you faced who won the Disco Derby. You faced Emerson Jane before in the past.
Yep.
She's a hell of a talent. Emerson winning that derby. Was it nice to see her get that win?
Oh, it was a brilliant moment, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
She's incredible. And we have great matches. There's nothing else to it, but watching, and she eliminated me, right? We won't talk about that. But to see her take the win was a very special moment.
Of course, as well. And we mentioned briefly before about Disco having such a good environment. We've had the CEO of Discovery, Alan, on the show earlier, and Alan talked about how he likes to make a wrestling environment positive for the wrestlers with certain things like having medical there and catering and just having a good environment. Do you feel like you reciprocate those feelings? Like you can see that he's trying to do great things for wrestlers?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant place to be. And I think in terms of like outside FPWA, Discovery have really taken a chance on me, along with ICW, but Disco have, all my favorite matches have been at Disco just because of who I've been in with, and again, like how much experience I've gained from it. The crowd, like I said earlier, they're wild, they're brilliant. Like they just, and because Disco has something for everyone, the card is so different. There's no two matches that will be the same, but the atmosphere just in general is fantastic, and it's one of the best places to be for sure.
Of course, absolutely. We had Alan on. Alan talked about maybe the 8th anniversary show for Discovery is going to come up later in this year, and I want to know, Daisy, if you were to be able to be on that show, is there someone maybe you want to face? You want to have a rematch against Emerson Jane, maybe?
I would love to have a rematch against Emerson Jane on Disco. There's also the Disco Derby. It was the first time that I came face to face with Martina. That would be another good one. I would love to face Casey again, but I would need to be in a position there if she's still the champion. Nina Samuels made her return to Discovery as well. Another person I would love to be in the ring with. So the possibilities are endless at Disco, and I wouldn't say no to any of them.
Absolutely. Great talents altogether. And it just shows that, women wrestling is thriving. When we talked the year before, I feel like women's wrestling has gone to another level. We've seen Jamie Hayter become the AEW Women's Champion. We've seen Soraya come back to the ring. We've seen Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity have a banger at Impact. For yourself, Daisy, what does it mean to you to see women's wrestling just continue to evolve?
It's very inspiring. And, it just pushes the boundaries of what is possible. Like I said earlier, like I never thought that any of this was possible. But even I can feel it in the sort of small way that I contribute to the wrestling scene, and hopefully more as time goes on. To see matches like that and to see the level that people are at, it just makes you want to get there. Whether you do or you don't, it's nice to see how far you can go with it. And whatever I achieve, again, was meant for me. So it's super inspirational to watch, and it just makes you want to work harder. That's all that whenever I see something like that, or see how impressive something is, like, it just makes me want to work harder because I want to be part of it. I want to be part of all of that, and I want to contribute in my own way.
Of course, absolutely. You contribute to the business that everyone here loves. And also, something I got to touch upon as well. When you came out of the Disco Derby, I was a bit of like, whoa, because you had that kind of new gear on, like this whole dark gear. I was like, whoa, is Daisy embracing the dark side or something? What's going on there, Daisy? I must ask.
It's not so much. I suppose it does look a little bit, but it's more, I think, showing the evolution of confidence. I think I love my original gear, and I think it's great for family shows. I think kids think that I look like a superhero, and parents know what it is that I'm going for with it. It's nostalgic. But I kind of feel like the way that I looked potentially made people feel like they could kind of overlook me. I didn't maybe I didn't look like I could hold my own and things like that. And I think the way that I've evolved with the other looks, so the gold one that I wear at FPWA and the black one that I've started to wear at Disco and other places, to me is just showing that I'm confident. Like I'm here to stay. Like it's kind of it's an expression of myself, really. And to come across that gear, like that gear was she's I don't want to say the name because it'll be, I don't know if it's like, because it's on Instagram, it's something different than what her actual name is. But she makes gear for a lot of the girls in WWE. And this gear was part of her Black Friday sale last year. And it was exactly my size. It wasn't made for me. And it was the exact amount of money that I'd saved up from doing shows recently, like up until I bought it. So again, it was made for me, really. It was meant for me. But it's not so much embracing the dark side, it's just showing that I'm confident in myself, and it's an evolution, and I'll continue to evolve.
Of course, absolutely. Evolution is part of the key. You've done so well. I mean, hey, I've changed a bit as well because you didn't recognize me at the disco for a wee bit.
I didn't recognize you at all. I was like, who's this guy going to talk to me?
Maybe I'll bring back the afro one day or stick to the short hair. I mean, hey, suit ain't going anywhere just yet. But let's go on to FPWA in itself, because I know FPWA is going to have their Truth or Dare show coming up in September. And I want to know, Daisy, you've been announced for the show. I need to know, because obviously there's a whole stipulation for this. For the fans, if you're not watching and you're not familiar with the stipulation, it's Truth or Dare, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, at FPWA Truth or Dare, a wheel selected and you get your opponent, but you could get a Truth or a Dare. Truth will be a regular match, but Dare could be a stipulation. So I want to know, Daisy, if you were selected against anyone in FPWA, who would you like to face? And if you got Dare, what kind of stipulation would you like?
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Well, I don't think everybody's been announced yet, so it's going to have to be, and so I don't know who is going to be on this wheel. But the people who are on the wheel already, I'm going to have to start thinking, because the thing is that it could be anyone.
True.
So, and so far, it's all very tough opponents. If I was to imagine it was, Daisy Jenkins versus Andy Roberts, what would happen there? But I think if we're talking about FPWA and who has been announced so far, I would quite like to go for the title of hardest person in Fife, hardest man in Fife. So I'd maybe like to take Tommy Cartel down a peg.
Ooh, well. The hardest man in Fife might be dethroned and just be the chump of Fife now if Daisy takes that title. I mean, hey, let me throw my 2 cents into the ring. I would think maybe you and Jason Reed and that wheel spins on an ICW 0G championship match.
Oh, well, we have had a match before and it was this close. Just managed to beat me. So.
Well, hey, I don't know. I mean, Daisy Jenkins' ICW 0G champion has a nice ring to it. So, hey.
Be a bit bonkers.
Could be a fun dare indeed. But that's the fun of Truth or Dare, everybody. And definitely, if you can, go to the event September 7th at, Truth Nightclub in Leven. I'm going to be there. So, hey, I'll be having a blast myself. But obviously, Daisy, let's talk about the whole UK wrestling scene as a whole. Because since you came on, things have gone from here to here because we've had Money in the Bank and AEW have announced All In for Wembley Stadium. So I want to talk about WWE first. Did you watch the show and did you enjoy what WWE produced in the UK?
I did watch it and I thought it was great.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we talked about this at the last one because we'd just been at Clash at the Castle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the crowd again, I was a bit sad that it was such a small crowd. I think quite a lot of people. So I tried to get tickets for it. And it was too expensive. I couldn't get tickets.
Come on, WWE. You have the financial funds to get somewhere bigger. For God's sake, guys. Come on.
For the amount of money that I was going to spend, I'm now going to Orlando for 2 weeks. You know what I
mean? Priorities, WWE.
But it was very good. I enjoyed it. It was probably one of the best recent live events.
Absolutely, as well. It was definitely a hell of a show. With LA Knight in the ladder match, sadly not winning. God damn you.
So yeah, should have.
Boys. I mean, hey, Roman Reigns getting pinned, I'll take that as a victory any day of the week. But obviously, last time we spoke, exactly. Last time we spoke, we kind of joked about WrestleMania come to the UK. Where would we like it to have? And now Cena, big man himself, came out and said, "Hey, guess what? Might be happening." So now I gotta ask, Daisy, WrestleMania come to the UK. What would that mean to you as a wrestler?
Oh, it'd be amazing. I think it's what we spoke about the last time, which was essentially whenever big companies like this come to the UK, it gives the opportunity for a lot of the independent scene to run shows at the same time. So you've just got a crowd of like-minded people all flocking to one city, not to enjoy a weekend of wrestling, and they get to go and see, the WWE or AEW, but they could also choose to go and see a local show in the afternoon beforehand or the next day if they're still hanging around. And it just booms everything, and it gives people such a great opportunity to kind of show themselves in front of people who potentially would never be in that city. If people are traveling down for it, because you've got the scenes kind of split up into all the different areas. So you might not, if you're into independent wrestling, you might never get to see somebody who only really wrestles down in the London area. And then you get to go and see them, and maybe you find a different person, and it just brings everything along, I think it's such an incredible opportunity for everyone, and it'll be cool to see. There's quite a lot of shows that are going to be on, from what I've seen anyway, quite a lot of shows that are advertised for the weekend that AEW are on, so I think they'll be really cool for the people that are on those.
Oh, absolutely as well. And WrestleMania UK is going to be a massive event, but we all know there's going to be one true villain of this thing, and it's bloody Ticketmaster.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
Yeah, the fear is fully inside me for that queue. Ugh.
I know, and it's, if they don't pick the right venue, it's going to be very difficult.
Exactly.
And then it's the sadness that you feel when you don't get a ticket.
I know, and I'll take nosebleeds or anything like that, but just get me in the event. Obviously last time we spoke about where we would like it to have, England, Scotland, Wales. I want to talk about venues there because you mentioned venues is very interesting. I think they should go for the Principality Stadium where they had Clash, but do you think maybe Wembley or somewhere else?
No, I think Principality was amazing for it.
Hmm.
Especially like the location of where it is in Cardiff as well. So easy to get to, like great sort of transport links and stuff. The atmosphere was incredible. It's just whether it's, I suppose it would be big enough. It just depends on what it is that they're looking to do. You know, maybe they'll do like 2 nights.
Very much. Hey, 2 nights is fine by me if I get the ticket and get to go. Happy
I
with
know.
that. Well, let's switch away to another company because we've got AEW all in a couple of weeks at Wembley. I want to know from yourself, Daisy. You know, there was always a bit of a hesitation from the Americans who think, we can't sell out Wembley Stadium. There's not enough drive for it. Why do you think some people undermine UK fans when it comes to wrestling?
I just maybe like there's not been enough experience of it, I suppose. You know, how do you know unless you do it? But because I suppose when they do the live tours, it's always like a smaller venue, isn't it? So, and they don't always sell out, but it's usually because it's maybe because it's a Wednesday or a Thursday night. You know, it's hardly ever at the weekend. So it must be really hard to gauge. But I think Clash at the Castle has obviously proved it because they're now coming back, and more companies are coming. Because I've just seen the Impact. I've announced a UK tour. I noticed that on Instagram earlier. So it's just going to be really cool because I think it's just going to continue now, get bigger. But I think there just maybe wasn't enough proof. But we managed to cinch the deal by cheering non-stop for like 4 hours.
It was worth it. We got our win at the end of the day. But I want to know, Daisy, let's go for a bit of fancy booking. Say if Tony Khan came to you and said, hey, Daisy, I want you on the show. I want you to be wrestling in Wembley Stadium against any female on the AEW roster. Is there a particular woman you would like to have a match with from AEW?
Tony Storm.
Ooh. What's that about Tony that appeals to you so much? Just thinks she's an exceptional talent?
Yeah, and I think she's just like super impressive with everything that she does. And I've actually went back and watched a lot of her old stuff, like when she was on ICW and stuff. And just I've watched a lot of the NXT UK matches. I went through a bit of a time where I watched all of the women's matches from NXT UK. And I just think she's incredible. Like there's hardly anything that she can't do, and she'll always do something that makes you go, wow, never seen that before, she's very unique in the way that she moves and stuff. So that would be my choice.
That's a very good choice. And you did mention Impact there. Obviously, recently announced Impact UK tour. Exceptional thing for Impact. Joe Hendry's coming back. Man himself. Love him. He's great. But obviously, Dani Luna is with Impact with Subculture. Yep. Maybe a rematch in Glasgow, maybe?
Love that. I would love that. I could wrestle her every day of the week.
All right. Who do I need to tag? Scott D'Amore. Guys, come on. Let this shit out. We need to see this happen. But obviously, women championships are such a great thing as well. They're such beautifully designed belts. I want to know, Daisy, if you could have out of these 3 belts over your shoulder, which one? ICW, Rev Pro, or TNT Women's Championship?
ICW.
Do you think it's just because ICW's got such a special place for you? That would mean a lot?
I think just imagine the video package you could make from me without any gear, making my debut, to the evolution of it all. I think it would be quite spectacular to be able to show from day one. It was my debut, imagine the story you could tell with that.
Well, move over to Cody Rhodes because someone's got to finish their story now. Come on. Well, I mean, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Daisy. We had Rio, who is the ICW Women's Champion, on a couple months ago, and Rio did say she would face anyone on the show. So maybe that's a future.
Potentially.
Well, hey, it's great to see indeed. But obviously, Daisy, I want to ask a final thing because it's great to have you back on the show. First 2-time wrestler on the show, so that's an accolade in its ask as well. But I think one of the most important things within wrestling is music. Music is a great thing as well. But I want to know, I've been giving you the music Magic by Emmy for your appearances on the show and all your highlights. But I want to know, have you got maybe a licensed music you would love to have as your entrance?
I don't know. Like, I love my entrance music as it is. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's actually a song by my brother's band the band hasn't been together for about 10 years now. So to be able to walk out or, skip, to jump out and skip around to that, which was something that I was very proud of him for, and something that they were very proud of as a band. Like, it's just cool. It's just, I don't think I'd ever want to change it.
Wow, it's a memorable piece and it's got sentimental value, so that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I'm very sentimental. I don't know what people think when they watch me on podcasts and stuff, because I'm always very like, I'm so grateful and all this, but I genuinely am.
But you know what? Because I've shaved all my hair off, my brain's working for once, so I've got more memory capacity in there. So I want to ask another actual final question. I've seen, training schools introduce championships and for their students to go for, but FPWA doesn't have one yet, male, female, or a tag. I want to know, if FPWA to introduce a women's championship, how would you like it designed?
I think there's something about the fact that it's the kingdom of Fife that I think could be played on there. So maybe like a crown or something. I think that it needs to play into that. I don't know if there will be championships and if they will be gender specific. Because obviously, like, we do have intergender matches, and the Fife Ways had women in it as well. So I don't know if that's what the plan is, but I think it would be cool to have something that shows that it's to do with the Kingdom of Fife. I think the crowd would like that as well, because it all kind of ties in together. We've got quite a rich history in Fife of many different things, so I think that would be really cool.
Wow, that would definitely be. I mean, would it spin? Would it be a spinner? Because I'm a bit of a fool for a spinner belt.
Yeah, like, wouldn't that just be the best thing about it? Because you could just, you could do so much with it. You could literally just put up a reel of you spinning it.
Oh, a spinning crown.
I know.
12, Daisy. I mean, hey,
and this just goes back to the fact that my name is on a spinning wheel, and I don't know what's going to happen and who I'm going to be up against. It could be anyone. Maybe I don't even get picked. Maybe I stand through there, my name doesn't come through. That's the power of the wheel.
Hey, if that happens, my ass is getting in that ring and purposely spinning that wheel, because we need to see Daisy Jenkins in the ring kicking ass.
But do you know, like, this is the thing that I don't know how to prepare for it with, because the wheel spins. You could be the first person out for that match, so then you're standing waiting for the wheel to spin again, or the wheel has already spun, somebody's went out there, and then your music hits. How do you feel? How do you prepare for that?
A lot of cardio.
I just don't know, because you're going to, like, in either of those two moments, you're going to have to think on your feet. I'm going to have to be able to react to whoever it is. So I need to take into consideration who's on the wheel. And then I need to come up with a game plan for each and everything.
Oh, absolutely, indeed.
It's like a lot of work, doesn't it?
Hey, you got to work to make money sometimes. You got to work to make magic. But, I've been looking at the list of people announced, and someone who else is announced. There's another guest to the show from Wales, the Combat Legacy champion, James Ellis. James,
yeah, I'd like a match with him, to be fair.
Ooh, the Brilliance versus Jenkins. Well, imagine indeed. I mean, James is the Combat Legacy champion down in No Mercy. Maybe that wheel could have a dare of that title on the line.
Well, maybe that is one of the dares. If you're a champion, you have to put your title on the line.
Oh, wow! That's getting the magic working. It's
so exciting, because we don't know anything, know nothing. It's all just going to happen.
Wow, maybe we need a dare that Soul Sessions guests are going to match up, because hey, I like that. We've got plenty of guests maybe on the show, so hey, who knows indeed. But maybe is there a stipulation you don't want? TLC, maybe Extreme Rules, table matches.
See, this is the thing, because it would totally depend on who I'm in with, right?
True.
Because if it's someone who's really experienced with that sort of thing, then I'm goosed. But if it's someone like me who's never been in it before, then, you know, there's the potential that you're just kind of feeling it out, and maybe, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, I've been hit with a chair once. I can't say that I'd be buzzing for it again, but needs must. I've never used one before, but, you know, I have the motivation to, having been hit with one myself. But in terms of tables, well, I don't know. It's just it's a whole different ball game. All of this stuff. So to be on that wheel and for there to be the potential for these things is quite terrifying.
Very true indeed. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, even competitors as well. But I want to know, Daisy, is there 3 people you want to see on that wheel, maybe from around the UK, and 3 people you don't want to see on that wheel because you think they'll be hell of a challenge?
Whoa, that's so difficult. That's so difficult.
Yeah. So sales sessions, we love to be a bit challenging of our questions here.
Oh, I don't know. Because there's quite a few people that I don't think there's anybody that I don't want to see on the wheel. Because these are the sorts of opportunities, because it's random choice, isn't it? Mm-hmm. These are the sorts of opportunities where, like, I could get put in with someone that I would never have the opportunity to again. Like, we're talking about, I'm on the same wheel as Andy Roberts, Rampage Brown. You know, like, there's, with the way that the rules work, there's the possibility. So I don't think there's anybody that I wouldn't want to see on the wheel. In terms of people that I would want to see on the wheel, I think we've already mentioned a few people that I would want to face again, but then the chances just seem so slim. I don't know.
It's a surprise.
It's such a difficult question. Who do you want to see on the wheel?
Oh, well, we're throwing it back at me now. The interviewer will become the interviewee. Well, fair dues indeed. I mean, I'm thinking, reignite a wee feud you had when you first appeared on the show. Daisy Jenkins versus Ashley Vega. Oh, well,
imagine the wheel brought that out.
Well, it's always good to have a blast from the past. That's why we have this episode here. We love a blast from the past. But, I'm thinking Ashley Vega, Harmony Sky as well. Someone's a talent within FPWA. Maybe even Lexi Kimbo as well, or someone I've had on as well. He's an absolute madman in himself, Frank Gallo.
Frank Gallo is on the wheel.
Exactly. Well, he is indeed, because he's a madman. He loves to do
I haven't even considered what would happen if it was Daisy Jenkins versus Frank Gallo. With a stipulation.
God, it might be a reading contest. Oh, no.
Imagine.
Hey, it's just...
Could be anything.
Yeah, exactly. You could be given a copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Finish that book in 30 minutes. Whoever gets the most closest to the end is the winner. Because that is...
that would be quite boring for the crowd, no?
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe you have to read it out. You've got to put character voices on, You got to engage. You never know. Because that's the fact of Truth or Dare. It's a mystery.
I could do that, but I kind of feel like if that was the match stipulation with me and Frank Gallo, I think I'd lose.
Oh, yes, true. I mean... I'll tell you now, folks, because obviously at the time of recording, that episode's not out yet, but when you see it, God, prepare yourself. Honestly, have a beer or something nearby, because that was an experience for myself that I've still not recovered from to this very day. But hey, it was a time in itself. But, Truth or Dare is mentioned, how people can see it as well. But I want to know, Daisy, from your point of view, if people are in that area and they want to come see that show, why should they come and see FPWA Truth or Dare?
I think just it's different. I think so. You can agree or disagree with me here, seeing as you've been to 2 shows now.
One, sadly, I had the COVID with the New Wave show, so I had to miss it.
So it's got a different feel to it. It feels special, like the venue. The venue is incredible. It just sets the scene. Like the video packages and the pictures and everything that we get, they don't look like anywhere else in Scotland. It's something that's completely different, and I think that's what's so cool about it, is that it's a welcome addition to the Scottish scene because it's different. It's not doing the same thing as everybody else, and I think also FPW have proven that they can bring in talent from down south and the matches can be world class, regardless of the fact that it's in Fife. Like there's been matches on there that you wouldn't see anywhere else. You know, Andy Roberts versus Wild Boar, one of the best matches that I've seen live. So I think in terms of there being a premium wrestling experience on your doorstep, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to see what you see on television, because that's exactly what it is that we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, as well. And I mean, it just shows that maybe FPW has become ingrained with the city of Leven, you know, part of its DNA.
Yeah, it is such an interesting place in terms of, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, sadly a lot of destruction in terms of the high street and stuff. There's been a few fires recently. So I think it's a welcome addition to the area. And with where it is in that venue, they do so many things for the local area. They're not just a nightclub, you know, they're a fantastic bunch of people who support their community. And with us being able to do what we do there, again, just brings something completely different. And everybody leaves happy, you know, and everybody comes back. You walk into that crowd on your entrance and you can just see so many familiar faces. So people are obviously enjoying it for the fact that they're coming back time and time again. So it's just really cool. It's very special.
Absolutely, it is a very special thing. You know, if you were to kind of want a comparison to, I like to say it's kind of like Duffy Wrestling League from the TV show Heels that Stephen Amell is on.
Love that show, and nobody has seen it. I love it so much. It's so good. Yes, I agree with you.
Oh man, how's no one seen Heels? It's a banger show. Absolutely loved it.
Is season 2 out yet?
Not yet. No, it's still it's coming up soon. Hopefully, I mean, CM Punk's coming back, but as well, AJ Lee's going to be in it as well, which is
incredible.
I mean, goddamn, AJ Lee coming back as well. Even as a TV show, but wrestling against her husband as well. I mean, that's a dynamic duo in itself. You know, oh damn. I mean, are you excited for that kind of plot point in season 2, or do you think maybe there's something else that's going to interest you with season 2 of Heels?
But it's been so long since I watched it. I do actually I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I want to watch that again, because the storytelling is just impeccable. Like, there's no other, not that I know of, but there's no other like TV show to do with wrestling that had the same feel to it. And I think because I was watching it just as I was getting into the business, it was very much like, it was a very strange feeling for me, because there was so many like dynamics, and it's like no matter where the scene is, there's the same characters pop up, the same type of people. I can't remember the girl's name in it, but when she finally got in the ring and done moves, and she was amazing. I want her. Yeah, she's going to be doing some stuff.
Oh well, who knows? Crystal versus Daisy Jenkins, that could be a hell of a main event right there.
Who do we call?
I guess I'm going to have to get Stephen Amell on the show somehow.
Imagine! That's amazing. I'll co-host it.
Well, I won't toast my own record. You know, I try my best as I can for the soul sessions, but I will work the magic. I'll make the pay. I'll literally rob myself if I can get Stephen Amell on, and you could be the co-host and try and shoot your shot to be on Heel season 3. We'll make the magic work. Well, hey,
absolutely.
You never know in this business, but you know what, Daisy, we're finally coming to the end now, and we've off the soul session for your second appearance. Congratulations, you are a 2-time guest. But I want you to know as well, you know, as I do with every guest, you know, we've mentioned Truth or Dare, but have you got any other dates lined up that people can come see you?
Yeah, I've got a few coming up in August. So Copenhagen Championship Wrestling, I'm in a fatal 4-way. That's in Kirkintilloch. And then I have main event entertainment against Angel Hayes the week after. And then I'm facing off against Molly Spartan the week after that at Pro 2.
Yes, indeed. Pro 2 show is going to be a hell of a banger. So please,
big month.
Absolutely. And of course, Truth or Dare as well, FPWA. Check that out, everyone. And of course, if you want to see more of Daisy Jenkins, don't worry, folks. You can't be lazy, because her Instagram link will be in the description of this video. You can click that and follow the journey of Daisy Jenkins. Well, folks, what a banger of a blast from the past for another episode of the Soul Sessions with myself, Soul, and of course, Daisy Jenkins, as always. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of The Soul Session.